All right, a lot of news going on today. We're, of course, continuing to monitor what's going on in Virginia Beach. Meanwhile, today, there was also a pretty remarkable development in federal court as it relates to Michael Flynn. Today, when we went into the day, we expected to get two documents that would provide new insight into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's communications with Russia and the Trump legal team's attempt to keep him quiet. Earlier this month, the federal judge who's presiding over that case ordered the DOJ to turn over the transcript of a voicemail where one of Trump's attorneys appears to try to convince Flynn not to cooperate with prosecutors. Now, most of the transcript of that call actually appeared in the Mueller report, but it's a stark reminder of the Trump team's attempts to obstruct Robert Mueller's investigation. Quote, if, on the other hand, and this is John Dowd speaking to Flynn's lawyer, if, on the other hand, there's information that implicates the president, then we've got a national security issue. Then, you know, we need some kind of heads up. Remember what we've always said about the president and his feelings towards Flynn, and that still remains. I wonder what that could mean. And President Trump's former personal attorney, John Dowd, did release a statement in response to that in Comic Sans font, inexplicably saying in part, quote, this is clearly a baseless political document designed to smear and damage the reputation of counsel and innocent people. Keep in mind, the document is a verbatim transcript of a voicemail that he left. Now, we also expected to finally see the transcript of that phone call, at least one of the phone calls that's at the heart of the entire matter, the phone call between Michael Flynn, when he's the incoming national security advisor during the transition, and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Flynn first got in trouble, you might remember, for lying to FBI agents about this very conversation. He pleaded guilty to lying about it. So everyone's always want to know, what the heck did they talk about? But, and here's where things got really strange today. Despite the judge's direct order, we do not have that transcript. The government, the Department of Justice, is ignoring the judge, declining to release it, saying only the government further represents it is not relying on any of the recordings or any other person for purposes of establishing the defendant's guilt or determining his sentence, nor are there any other recordings that are part of the sentencing record. Joining me now are Natasha Bertrand, national security correspondent at Politico and an MSNBC contributor, and Carol Lamb, former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of California, also served as a Superior Court judge in San Diego. Carol, let me begin with you as someone who once served as a judge. Is this as strange as it appears that the Department of Justice in this filing is just essentially telling the judge they're not going to give him the thing that he told them to turn over?
Yeah, because I hope that in the next few days we're going to get a little more context around that, because I was fairly flabbergasted when I read that response by the Justice Department. When a federal judge says, I want more information in order to sentence this individual, you give him the information. And if there are national security concerns or something like that, you give options to the judge. Can you examine it in your chambers? Can we file it under seal, which was an option that the judge made available to them? But you don't say, you don't need to see it. Yeah. We didn't rely on it, because sentencing is something that falls specifically in the judiciary's hands, not the prosecutor's hands. And the judge is saying, I need this in order to make my sentencing decision, and it's not a crazy request to want to see the transcript of that call. So my concern is that while there could be an innocent explanation for this, I am concerned that the instructions here may have come from higher levels at the Justice Department, and it could be the first step towards perhaps some kind of privilege claim, not for a president, but for a president-elect, because Donald Trump was not president at the time that this, he was a president-elect, but he was not the president at the time that this phone call took place. That
is a really interesting point, that this may be laying the groundwork to just essentially defy this and attempt to file in opposition to it. Natasha, the judge overseeing this is unlikely to take this well. Judge Emmett Sullivan, who has been quite angry at the government at multiple points. He is quick to anger if he feels like they're getting crosswise, and also has been rather harsh to Michael Flynn. Said before he'd asked the prosecutors whether Michael Flynn could have been charged with treason. I can't imagine he's going to receive this well.
Yeah, Chris, he has very little patience for these kinds of shenanigans. And so I imagine that prosecutors defying a court order are really going to set off the already short fuse that he has. I mean, with regard to Michael Flynn during the trial or during the sentencing hearing, he told Michael Flynn, you know, you basically sold out your country. So, you know, the tensions are already pretty high here. But it would have been really remarkable, and I just want to underscore this point, to have a transcript of a phone call that the government recorded of Michael Flynn discussing Russia sanctions with a foreign national because of the by now well-known practice of national security officials to record, foreign nationals that are even if that means that they're picking up domestic individuals. So that was always kind of a bizarre request by the judge. And prosecutors and former federal prosecutors actually pointed that out, saying, well, this is actually maybe going a bit too far because the information is so sensitive and it involves all of these techniques that, national security officials use to monitor foreigners. But still, it's a court order, so I think we have to wait and see how he reacts to this. Well,
and Carol, I mean, there's of course, Mueller referred 14 other matters, 12 of which remain classified. And I wonder, I mean, to me, the question here is, who's now running this case? Has it changed hands? And does this represent a new posture in how the DOJ is going to supervise the rest of what Robert Mueller has spun out?
Really hard to say how much control is coming from the top. Obviously, with these sensitive issues, they are run up the flagpole, and the flag at the top of the flagpole has changed. So, there are sensitive issues, but they have given a reason for not turning over the transcript. And their reason is, Judge, we just don't think it's relevant.
Right.
So, if there's another reason, you have to tell the judge what the reason is.
Yeah, we'll see if we get some supplementary information on that. Natasha Bertrand and Carol Lamb, thank you both. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.